Good day and good evening, and welcome to the Extreme Countdown with me, Caetsu Chaiji, but you can just call me Kai. This time, well, last time, we managed to do 2 extremes, fully finished, explored as much as we could in one session, so I thought, we can probably do that again, right? So this time, we're aiming to do both Titan and Garuda. Extreme. With as few players as we can, starting with 8 players and then making our way down. As far as I can see, we're actually 8 right here, so I'll start inviting people. If you want to join, you just accept the invite. The general idea is that we will start with 8 players, beat the boss, and then if we win, we drop a player. I actually thought I'd already invited Caetsu. Maybe they declined. They did decline, sorry. But the key things that usually decide how many players we can get away with is, in my experience, it's become more about the mechanics than a hardened rage almost. By which I mean, last time we had a check with Rust says I'm coming if there's space. It seems there's space. I think Guzzle says they're having latency issues. So if you want to come, Rust, you can come on over. Yeah, usually one thing is the problem of how much DPS, like how much damage do we need? And then, separately, there's the problem of, can we beat the mechanics? For example, we can immediately rule out the possibility of 2-manning Titan, because we will need at least 3 players to deal with the jails mechanic. Whether it's possible to beat Titan with 3 players is a whole different story, but you can't do it with 2, because he will just auto-win when he uses jails. Garuda is similar in that you will need at least 2 tanks to separate the 2 other ladies in the fight, and because you need to separate them, you need 2 tanks, and I don't think a tank can like survive on their own in this level range. Like, you need a healer. So that kind of rules out the possibility of going with 2 players in a similar fashion. And that's usually why we end up going down to 3 and then that's it. Like, then it's just over. Because we need a healer and we need usually 2 tanks. I think the closest we've been to possibly doing it with 1 tank, 1 healer was Ramuh and Shiva. Because both of them, while they have reasons to tank switch, not big enough reasons that it actually mattered. Like, it wouldn't wipe you. Now, with that said, hey Lexi, hey Anime Freaks, hey Zaf, hey Zeros, hey Rust, hey Gazel, hey Girahin, hey Lana, hey Kaziragoon, hey Tristan, hey Brontom, hey Ham, hey Kloska, hey Fatman, hey Matthew, and hey Eaterit. Hope you're all doing very well. And thank you for celebrating 8 months of membership of the Cult of the Pink, Matthew. Thanks so much. In memory of Kaishi Higanbana, 2019 to 2024. No one used you. Zav says in game you can tank Shirada as a DPS or a healer. Well, I think the problem there is that the healer will probably be very busy healing themselves and not attacking so much. Perhaps. Hey Gleaming, hope you're doing well. It's Higanbana is not going anywhere. Kaishi Higanbana is no longer going to be available in Dawn Trail. Kaishi Higanbana being the Tsubamegaishi version of Higanbana that you don't really have any reason to use. Brontom says Gunbreaker pressing 1-2 might be able to. So here's the thing. Just something really important to keep in mind. I'll just go over momentarily. So Babagaishi is staying gleaming. It's just that they're specifically, like, I suppose the easiest way to get the point across is to show you the tooltip very quickly. I know some people don't really want to see it, so I'll try to specify so we can move on instead of talking all this spoiler stuff. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to fix it on a slightly smaller screen, so that you don't see any more than the absolute minimum for those that don't want any spoilers. I don't really know how much this counts because it... And then it changed the screen. Thank you. Let's try again. Why did you do this? Here it is. Repeats the previously executed Iaijutsu. Cannot be used to repeat Higanbana. That's the reason, Gleaming. That's the story. Exactly, Leah. That's the thing, is like, in memory of Kaiji Higanbana, who no one used. Hey, Emir. Hope you're doing well. You could dot 2 targets. You know what would be more efficient for that? Like, you could, but like it doesn't save you very much time. It, like, using it on any of the other Iaijutsu saves you way more time. Right then, where was I? Hey Fila, we have not started yet. We're just about to. Well, the thing is, using Kaiji Higanbana when there's 2 targets is not directly a DPS loss. It's more that using Kaiji Midare is a DPS, a greater DPS gain than using it on Higanbana. It's the whole, what's the word? The whole idea of, well, you can't have both. You're choosing one over the other. The reason why I'm saying it's not necessarily a DPS loss is because it is a DPS loss if we view it in the lens of doing any less than maximum damage is a DPS loss, which is true, but it's more so that using Kaiji Higanbana is technically a DPS gain in the immediate present. Then, like, 5 seconds later, it's a DPS loss. Because you're saving like 5 seconds. But Midare, like Kaiji Midare saves you like 20 seconds by comparison. Also, hey Solization, hope you're doing well. Right, so we will start with Titan Extreme. I'm going to do this and this so that I don't forget. And not that one. This one. I think we will try with one healer 5 DPS, and 2 tanks. Now, the things that matter for this fight is Titan has Mountain Buster, which is a frontal cone attack that he will use on the regs, and it hurts a lot, which means that Titan has to always be basically always facing out to the edge of the arena. He also applies a stacking debuff with Mountain Buster that makes you take more damage, which means that it is typically not a bad idea to do a tank switch at around 2 to 3 stacks of it. Now, that alone doesn't necessarily mean that you would need 2 tanks. The problem is that the debuff lasts long enough that Titan would be able to add to it basically forever. So the longer the fight drags on, the more stacks a solo tank would take. And there's not really any way for us to tank switch with only 1 tank. So that's why we're trying with 2 tanks. If we actually get to a point where we have to choose between, like if we get down to like 3 players, there could be an argument for going 1 tank, 1 DPS, and 1 healer, and then the tank just being really careful with their enmity. Like, you could do it. And do a tank switch like that. But I have a feeling that if we get down to 3 players, it won't matter whether the 3rd player is a tank or a DPS. The only other thing, aside from... Like, the only other things that, like, aside from rather obvious stuff, such as, you know, the bomb boulders and all that, is that there will be ads spawning near the end of the fight. When they die, they apply basically, as far as I know, a permanent dot-on, you could say, hostile dot-on on the field. So it might not be good if you just let them die wherever. It might be good to place them somewhere convenient. And when he uses Jail, he will lock up a DPS and a healer. And those 2 players must be far apart, because if they're close, the jails will be stronger. And the important thing to consider here is that we are talking singular healer and plural, like singular DPS and singular healer, but we only have 1 healer, is the plan. Reason being that I think we have the like we don't need 2 healers for this. Okay, fair enough. My tanks here say that the dotons are not permanent. They just last really long. So basically, it's like looking at the expiration date on your sugar. Probably doesn't matter, and if it does, then maybe you shouldn't invest in buying more sugar. But yeah, aside from this, Extreme Titan is similar to Hard Titan. Oh, there's actually one more thing. Whenever he lifts his leg up to stomp, he will do a knockback. So you have to run towards him and try to make sure you get knocked across the arena and not off the arena. Yeah, I believe they've made it so that you can at least get rest if you do fall off, but that is also something to consider. For the most part, the rest is kill things, kill the jails. Normally the strategy is kill the DP, like save the DPS first, and then the healer. We'll see if we need to be super strict about that. Hey Ardell, hope you're doing well. Yeah, the Zumo Stomp specifically, I believe it's called Upheaval. Hey Obama, hope you're doing well. Phew. Solization says, isn't there a thing where the healer needs to put their jail near the edge and the DPS puts their jail near the center? That is a thing you can do. The important thing is making sure that they are not near each other. I'll probably be hanging out further back, just naturally, and then come in when needed. And yeah, that is a warrior action. Guess where they learned it from? Is there anything that anyone needs with Okay, there is a marker. Excellent. I'll wait. Let me know when you have the any markers you need. Down. Oh, wait a minute. We have a dancer. I'll put it to 20. $45 No. I think 20 will be plenty for you here. Hey Coco, hope you're doing well. And thank you for celebrating 15 months of membership of the Cult of the Pink. Just kill the boss, Labao. Oh boy. Wait, did you just... Well, now I have to wait. I'll give you a pull timer, Emir. So you don't have to be so excited. I'll give you, like, we always do pull timers. Don't think the dancer needs a countdown at 50? Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. They can do they can get an extra standard step in their opener. You might say, but they don't have any burst cooldowns. I do, and I am an astrologian. By the way, tank stance? Oh, right. We scared him. 50 seconds to mentally prepare. that is actually pretty funny. In our raid team, we use very long pull timers because our group has to be mentally ready to pull before we start. Uh-oh. That was very nicely done, considering it snuck up on us. Uh-oh. Well, this doesn't seem to be a problem so far. We have plenty of damage. Here come the ads. Oh boy, that was close. Uh-oh. Wait, what? Yeah, I was thinking, I thought someone fell off, and then it took a second. Whew. Very nice. Very nice. There were some things there. Let me just read back. Right. So, I'm just going to explain this again for anyone who looked at these markers and was like, what? So, A is where we tank Titan. That's where Titan is going to be tanked. B is where I'm supposed to stand. Now, you can see how much success I had with actually standing there. Usually remembered every time jail was cast, and that was good enough. C is where we kill the ads. Now you might then be thinking, so where does the jail DPS go? Under the boss. So now we've talked about that. If you get jailed as a DPS, you go under the Titan. So hey, look at the Chaiji. Hope you're doing well. Indeed, Red. And basically what happens, yeah, look at the Chaiji, is that if the two players that get jailed are too close together, both jails will get a significant defense increase. You can probably still do it, but it's a lot harder. Do we have a volunteer to step out so we can go down to 7? It helps if you just announce that you're willing to step out instead of just leaving. Because otherwise we have like 2 or 3 people just leaving all at once. Rust says they'd step out. Okay. They also said they were finalists, the last one. That is actually a good point. I see, look at the Chaiji. I did go over some of the important mechanics. But yeah, I suppose what'll happen is you'll see the mechanics become more and more and more crucial that we get them right as we drop down in player count. Some of you might also be going, why are you playing Astrologian of all things? And we discovered when we did Ramu a while back that Astrologian is actually really, really strong for just raw healing power at level 50, and barrier healers not so much. Exactly, Brontum. And then I say, wait, no, wait, come back! You must die! And then everyone comes back. Right, reiteration. I will go to B on the jails. The ads go on C. DPS player goes to A when we get the jails. That's pretty much it. And here's your pull timer. I forgot to draw my card. Oops. Oh well. We've discovered many of them can be done with 3 players, look at the Chaiji. So hey, maybe you can do your part. Maybe you can carry hard enough. Yeah. Oh, right. Screw my cards, am I right, everyone? Does Astro's Scholar's Fairy heal better in level 50 content? Based on Ramu, I would say Astrologian, when you have many players, as the player count drops, Scholar starts to pull ahead, simply because Fairy can like do so much healing. Yeah, as you've seen, when we go down to lower player count, it often gets better and better to have, like, Astro instead. Hey, Bits, hope you're doing well. But it is simply that the spammable aspect at Helios is too bloody useful. To quote Sid. Hey, Catch, hope you're doing well. At time. It's at time. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Wait, what happened to Zav? Zav? What happened? Did you just get punched? At what point does Sage start to take over Scholar? It depends. I think we're wiping. Yeah, Guzzle, that's why I keep stepping forward and then running away when I have to. Hey, Cyanide, hope you're doing well. And hey, Shotokai. What's that Reaper weapon? I think it's a relic. Yeah, it's one of the lower stages of the Mandible relic weapon. What happens if you won't kill Granite Jailer? The ads? I think they'll just, like, beat the ever-living daylights out of you over time. Yeah, I think mostly it works as long as I like step in whenever I need to AoE heal. But you have a point that it would be easier if I was a Scholar, so that I could just, you know, have Eos use a little heal. It's just that I need to do that little heal too often for Whispering Dawn to be good enough. That's the same we ran into with Ramuh. That Eos was fine, just it wasn't quite enough when we were mini. Your arm's length of people? Possibly? And yeah, Kluska, that's also what I'm mostly doing, but it depends on what's needed. There's no reason for me to run back and forth if I have nothing to do in the center, right? Tristan says yes to the knockback immunity thing. Hey Zach, hope you're doing well. Oh look, ads. Remember the frontal cleave, or you will die. Yeah. Imagine, if you will, frontal positionals. You know what? Blue Mages actually imagined that and made Goblin Punch and gave it to tank Blue Mages. Nice one. And yeah, that's true, look at the Magi. Before they made Titan Unreal, the falling off the arena actually meant that your corpse just stayed down there. And you were just out. Do we have a volunteer so we can go down to 6? I can also, you know what? I'll try Scholar. I just don't think it'll work because I can't get up to out of ward, you know? Thank you, Ham. We're already down to 6. 1 wipe so far. Yeah, the Titan's designer stated that Extreme is specifically designed so that its landslides come at the worst timings when people are trying to dodge the bombs. You know, that doesn't surprise me. It looks deliberate, doesn't it? Without full party bonus? We still have full party bonus. Just barely. Tank stance? But yeah, it is so perfectly timed, the landslides with the bombs, that it has to be deliberate. So that doesn't surprise me, guys. Well, thank you for the information. Blep. Bits, if the two jails are too close together, then the two jails will get a much higher defense boost, and then you won't actually have the DPS to kill both of them, potentially. The reason why we take them this far is to be certain. You can see that the chain breaks just before, like a meter or something before I reach my destination. So it's simply so that I stretch the line as much as possible, and then the DPS can find a safe spot, like a spot that is close enough, you could say. Yeah, we don't actually need to take it all the way to Narnia. I didn't want any of those lost trades anyway. It's totally fine, everyone. I hope you're tank switching, because I can't heal anyone. Whew. Since players seem loving to fall often hard, while it wasn't designed with that in mind. So to answer the needs, we have made EX trying to knock players off actively. Oh man. Thank you, all the players that did Titan hard poorly back in A Realm Reborn. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're still beating Titan faster than my clear in Mentor Roulette. Well, bits. I don't know if it's specifically defense. It could be HP too. Like, the point is that the jails have more effective HP, and now they're really hard to kill. And so, like, admittedly, you overshoot it by like having the healer go all the way to Narnia, but that's why we do. That's also true. We did not first try Leviathan. I think we actually failed multiple times on on Leviathan. That was because we had to learn the mechanics. Thank you, Bits. I'm glad that my Narnia jokes are appreciated. I'm not entirely. Ymir is asking, is Dancer more damage than Machinist at level 50? Let's see. Let's see. Take a moment to see. The 1-2-3 combo averages like 210 potency, 210, 205, something like that. Heat Blast is 220 each, even at level 35. I'm pretty sure. And then you have Gauss Round and Ricochet, so that's actually a lot. Like, if you can play it right, it's probably better. I think. Although Dancer's regular GCD potency is a lot higher. I think the important part is choosing the one that you're more comfortable with. And that is true, Gazela. Elusive Jump for a long time cut your enmity in half. It's really, really, really effective, that. Back when enmity mattered, of course. It'll cut your enmity by 100% because you elusive jumped off the edge. I mean, you're not entirely wrong, but... It's maybe banking on failure, isn't it? A Machinist isn't necessarily hard at level 50. It's a lot weirder at level 50 because you don't have something like Barrel Stabilizer. So, like, your first Wildfire is either going to be really, really late or not with Hypercharge. You choose. Name your poison. Wonk. Slap. I should have healed Zaf a little sooner. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Blech. That's a pretty good solution. You have plenty of time to wait for the knockback. That's actually pretty smart. Hey, Ram is up. Hope you're doing well. You didn't know Gunbreaker could fly? Well, if you kick it hard enough. Eat toasty bread. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, that does make sense. That was the way that it used to be done. Oh boy. I'll be over here. Oh man, that's so much damage. Is it just me, or is this fight suddenly be getting a lot longer? And I feel like it exponentially exploded in total length. I guess we did have a death. Maybe that's why. Oh look, mechanic we haven't seen earlier. Oh, well, bye. Oh, look, a mount. Well, the thing is, the last kill, we also didn't have divination or cards. And it didn't feel that much longer. Yeah, we also lost party bonus. So hey, Parrot and Subcast. Hope you're both doing well. Lexi says, which tank has the highest DPS at level 50? I would guess that it is not Paladin. Like, it's not Paladin. Certainly not Paladin. I find it unlikely that it is Warrior. Warrior might have better, slightly better burst, but I'm pretty sure that its, overall damage is lower than Dark Knight and Gunbreaker. And given that that we probably won't get, well, I don't know, maybe I think we'll still get a limit break, possibly. But I think we'll get a limit break just the same, regardless whether we have like job stacking. So if you both want to play the same tank, that's probably fine. Heron says the other way it used to be done is that the landslide would be baited directly on the jail, and then you'd mistime it and break out your friend right before the knockback went off to knock them off. Ah, yes. The classic... That was actually what I noticed in this try just now, is that the landslide was pointing right at me, and then I don't know if that was a coincidence, but it did look like Lexi like stayed their hand for a moment, like, wait, now, which meant that I was still in jail in time. I mean, I think it's probably between Dark Knight and Gunbreaker in regards to burst. There could be an argument. There could be an argument to be made that whatever you do... Oh, Ymir has to go. Well, then we'll have to switch to another player forward. Let's see, Ilana left last, right? Thank you for joining anyway, Ymir. No worries. It's okay, Ymir. It's totally fine. It happens. Imagine your family needing help and then going, no, I need to help this guy on the internet do some stupid challenge. I can't help you. Ron says Gunbreak at 50 is what Paladin is at 50, but with the Divine Might added. Well... yeah, I suppose you don't have Gnashing Fang. I mean, so far we haven't been lacking in damage, so that's why I haven't considered it, but then our tank started asking. Usually we're fine with having, like, enough of the different roles. That's why I don't usually ask to it unless we have to change something. I put a ready check button on my bars only to not use it. I know a 20-second is too long, but I'll just use it this one last time. While I was fixing it. Dark Knight also has a better AoE. Well, the thing is, we don't really need AoE much. Like, that's not something we're lacking much in, but I suppose you're right. We'll see if we need to do some specific changes. But that is a good point. Dark Knight is probably really strong in this level range. I thought I could slide cast that one. Guess not. Well, that was what we like. Right there, what saved me was the fact that Storm's path has a really slow, like, damage. Like, it's really, really late in the animation that the attack actually hits. And that was what caused me to not fall off. I saw the... I imagined the edge of the... Like, the bottom of the pit for a moment. I could just picture it. And me falling in it. Oh boy, it's not dead yet. I think I know what is going to be dead. Oh, bye. The effort, the attempt was noticed, Ilana. Amazing performance. I will help you. Zoya says, I'm struggling with pots. Do you have any guides on it? What do you mean with pots? Do you mean, like, tinctures? Do you mean healing potions? What do you mean? I'm sure you can do it, Zaf. Oh, Palace of the Dead. I actually do have a guide on Palace of the Dead. Although it is from a while back, I do have a guide on it. And yeah, if you don't get saved from the jails, they actually kill you like 20 seconds later. That's why you have to get a move on. But that's also why when we initially started talking about it, I said if you only have time to kill one of them, then you would probably have to kill the one with the healer in it. And then I guess the other guy will just have to die. Either way. Never mind. Should break the healer out of jail, no bias here. Well, the thing is, claiming that the healer would be able to rest the other person, whereas the Reaper will not be able to do that. I know that's a little unfair and mean and all that, but, you know. But I do get what you were going for. The healer says, save the healer first. That's like on Ramuh, when I was saying... Yeah, when two players get the lightning chains, the healer gets to stand still, even though the normal strategy is to have the healer be the one moving. Who suggested this strategy? Totally not a healer. Surely not. That's a coincidence that the particular strategy turns out to be very, very convenient for the healer. Like, I think that would be extremely funny if there was like a random, like, savage raid strategy or something that turned out to like be really, really nice to healers. And then you discover that, like, you don't have to do all that. And then you'll realize that the reason why it is so convenient for the healer is because the guide was, like, the strategy was designed by a healer. Like, of course it would be. I'm glad to hear that, Zoya. Thank you. I am already looking at this being a little bit concerned because I'm wondering if one player can actually break out of jail on their own. And it's not just going to be one player, it's going to be a tank that will have to do that. Oh, whoops. The cleave! It's getting real close. I don't know if we're getting close to an enrage. I don't think that's the case. But it's getting the jail mechanic is scary. It's scary for me, and I can't even do anything in it. I haven't been allowed to do anything in the mechanic once. Why not put the healer jail under Titan? Well, we haven't needed the healing yet. But I see what you mean. Oh, right, limit break. Do we just tank this? Oh, yeah. Oh, look, another mount. There you go. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, that is a good point, Perrin. We could probably have put healer under the boss and really think about it. We might have to do this now? I don't even know if it helps. I don't even know if it helps. Rontom says, I think what would Cat Damon do if you're worried about being able to do it as 2? Well, I mean, Rontom... the jail... And says, I think you likely wouldn't have needed Echo if healer jail was under Titan, because then you have 2 people focusing it and ignore the other jail if it took too long. I mean, I don't think we needed Echo, I just observed that we got a little bit of Echo. But I don't think we needed it, no. Given that we managed to save both of them. John says, let's see, shortly after watching the last one of the roulette videos, I read into a paladin in Stone Vigil who used only prominence in AoE. That's always fun, right? Just say no to Titan when he tries to jail you. Just say no. Yeah, healer on the Titan now might be necessary. Hey, Casey. Hope you're doing well. Two things to your question. Two things. The first one is I actually have a Mythbuster video on it. My level 30 to 50 guide for Scholar also explains it. And I think I also mention it randomly in multiple streams. The logic, the explanation as to how in some way Art of War can be a gain on 1, which can be difficult to see when you're level 90, is because the damage of your actions are different when you're level 50. This is Ruin at level 50. This is Art of War at level 50. So the first thing you can see here is that they do the same damage. The exact same damage to one target. So from this point, we can probably agree that Art of War is equal to Ruin 1 on single target, right? This far, we probably agree. Art of War is as good as Ruin 1 on single target. However, your auto attacks do real damage as a Scholar and a Summoner at level 50. Like, they still do more damage than other mages at level 90 with their auto attacks, but they actually do, like, okay damage with their auto attacks at level 50. Like, I think it translates to, like, if you're constantly auto attacking, it translates to, like, somewhere in the ballpark of, like, 7 or 8 potency per second. Like, per second. Which means, by the way, that if you're always auto-attacking, then Ruin 2 at level 50 is actually better than Ruin 1. Almost better than Ruin 1, let me explain. So, the way auto-attacks work in Final Fantasy XIV is, it's like a timer, right? It's like a timer. When the timer's up, you will auto-attack at your earliest convenience. You cannot auto-attack while you're casting, but your auto-attack timer stops while you're casting. Except that the game actually only recognizes your character as casting for the full cast time minus half a second, the thing you may know as the slide casting window. Which means that every time you cast Ruin, you lose 1 second of auto-attacking, assuming that you're in range. Which means that Ruin costs you like 7 potency every time you cast it when you could have used Art of War. It's close to 7. The thing is, if your gear's bad, like if you're leveling up for the first time and you're not wearing like full 130 or like getting synced down, then because your strength stat is static at level 50, the worse your gear is, the better your auto attacks will be by comparison, because a level 50 Scholar in underpants will do the same damage with the same book as a level 50 Scholar in full best in slot like Ironworks gear or like, you know, Coils Bahamut gear and stuff. Basically the same damage. Yeah, technically, Bokai, if basically you may have heard me talk about Narnia in my videos. The reason why I make fun of anyone who's in Narnia for no good reason is because auto-attacking is better than not auto-attacking. Free damage is free damage. The one job where I'm like, okay, fair enough, that's maybe a little bit silly, is if you're over a certain level, Black Mage auto-attacks only do 1 damage, so it probably won't do a big splash. But technically at like around level 30, 40s, Black Mage auto-attacks do like 40 damage, I'm pretty sure. Is it 20? There's something weird where black mages' muscles just shrivel up as they level. It's quite weird because of how scaling works. I actually have this in a Mythbuster video as well. But yeah, the way that you auto-attack as a mage is you right-click the enemy. Or if you're playing on console, you press whatever button you confirm with. Alternatively, you can also grab this and just use that. But yeah, auto-attacking is better than not auto-attacking. So if you're a red mage, it's better to do this than this. Because it's free damage to be in melee range, and it's safer because there's a higher chance the healer can reach you. Like, it's free damage. It's very counterintuitive, it's very weird. But doing more damage is better than not doing more damage. And all mages can auto-attack. And the reason for Art of War is a gain on 1 at level 50 is because your auto-attacks actually do real damage. Actually, Summoner is equally idiotic in the level 1 to, hold on to your hats, 71 level range. The only reason that Topaz Ruin is a DPS gain over casting regular Ruin is because Topaz Ruin is instant, which means more auto-attack damage. So you have to auto-attack. That can make Topaz Ruin and Emerald Ruin a DPS gain over regular Ruin when they otherwise wouldn't be. This stops being a problem when you get Topaz Right, because Topaz Right does more damage than regular Ruin 3. But before that, Summoner actually relies on auto attacks to make the rotation make sense at all. So it's not weird that Scholar also has Art of War's gain on 1 until they get Broil. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And yeah, that's also true, Matthew. Technically, a Scholar level 50 that is just in underpants would have less crits, less direct hits, and less, less damage from determination. But they would be doing nearly the same damage with their auto attacks as a Scholar in full gear, whereas the Ruin cast is going to be a lot weaker from the naked one. Right then, shall we see if we can actually beat Titan as 3? As far as I understood, it seems like in the party chat there was an agreement that I should stand under Titan now for the jails. Is that right? Bruce says once you get Ruin 3, you can't make Emerald Ruin 3. Makes sense. Maybe if you have 0 spell speed, it'll be a gain because of auto attacks. I think I actually mathed it out. Just give me a second before we start here. I think I mathed it out. Regular Ruin does 300, Emerald Ruin does 3/5 of that, but it also takes 3/5 of the time to do it. Which means that they're equal with 0 spell speed. If you have any spell speed, then the only thing that makes Emerald Ruin competitive with regular Ruin is if you needed to move or the auto attack argument that you came with, yes. Oh yeah, it is true. It is really awkward in that level range, and the reason why spell speed makes regular Ruin better is because Emerald Ruin does not scale with spell speed. This stuff should really be cleaned up. I know, right? You know what's even stupider? Ether charge is a DPS loss once you get Ruin 2. Technically. It makes sense in the grand scheme of the rotation, but technically it's a DPS loss to use Ether charge. Like, the reason why it makes sense is because the things that it gives you access to makes it a DPS gain, but the act of using Ether Charge loses you damage. Yeah, I know, Zionite. Obama's back. It is funny how the hard, like the brutal mechanic here will be jail. I should have healed Lexi more here. I think we'll wipe just because of this. Yes, Ether Charge. That's the thing that I should not have used Bio for that. I should not have used Swift Cast for that. But here we are. Yeah, I'm behind on healing. Yes, Ether Charge, aka Summon Nothing. It makes your next three... it makes your Ruin casts do 50 more potency? Ether Charge... let me just show you. Ether Charge makes your Ruin casts do 50 more potency, but it costs a GCD to use, right? You have enough time in Ether Charge to cast 5 ruins. If you Swift cast at the end, you can sneak the 6th one in just before the buff ends, assuming you have a little bit of spell speed. Ruin 1 does 240, which means using Ether Charge when you have Ruin 1 is a loss of 1 regular Ruin cast, which is minus 240. Then you cast Ruin 1 5 times, and it's a 10 gain. If you Swift cast, it's a 60 gain, right? Then there's of course the gain that Summon Ruby and Summon Topaz and Summon Emerald are 400 potency, which is good. And then you also have specifically Ruby Ruin, which is also a gain. Topaz Ruin is, you know, auto attack gain, and Emerald Ruin is actually a gain just outright. Like, for some reason they didn't make that 3/5. Then when you gain Ruin 2, using Ether Charge is a 270 potency, which means it's a 270 loss. And you need to Swift cast the last one for this buff to actually be a gain. Otherwise, this is actually, you lose potency now for a gain later. And your gain later is Summon Ruby, Summon Topaz, and Summon Emerald. Not Topaz Ruin or Emerald Ruin, really. Like, those are like a detail, like a footnote. And when you get Ruin 3... well, Ruin 3 starts at 300 potency, like a flat 300, which means that even if you Swift cast the 6th Ruin, Ether Charge is lose 1 Ruin, and then I will return it to you piecemeal in 6 pieces, assuming you can catch all 6 when I throw them at you. And then also you get 3 Lego pieces. Zepcast says, isn't Ruin 2 140 at 50? For Scholar, yes. This is Summoner. See, Summoner? Well, the Scholar is 140 at 50, yes. But with, like, that's the confusing thing, Zepcast. That's the confusing thing. Perrin, there's something that is extremely important to keep in mind when you say this, and that is part of the reason why we don't do spell speed summoner at other levels than 70 is because at higher levels than 70, it is not possible to get enough spell speed to fit 7 astral impulses. So we don't even know if it would be good or bad. It might be good at level 80, but we don't have the option yet, as far as I know. Because you need like 212 GCD to do that. But there is the possibility that it wouldn't be better. There's also the possibility that it would be better. At level 90, I could imagine it wouldn't be, simply because you have so many more options to fit into that window. How is it possible at 70 and not higher levels? Because you can use all the gear at higher levels synced down. You can get enough spell speed at to hit 213 at level 90. Well, that's also that. See, that's where I managed to just barely ninja you there, Perrin, because I said I don't think it's possible that it is worth it at level 90, but it might be at 80, because at level 90 you have stuff to fit in the rest of the rotation. At level 80, you're still casting Ruin for a considerable amount of time. Use a Flemmer here, but I think I should save Flemmers for dealing with jail. I suppose that's true. Like, because you have Topaz, well, not Topaz, because you have Rights at level 80, it might not be as big of a deal. The reason why I don't just take your word for it, Perrin, is because I have had discussions with you before where you assumed something was the case by, like, gleaning what you could see from builds, like, offered previously. I should not have done that. Where it might not actually been true. Like, that's the reason why I don't just go, you're probably right then. Because sometimes the reason why a build isn't quote-unquote good is because of something that you just don't know yet. Or haven't seen yet. Rontom says, if you crit one Astral Impulse, isn't that equal in damage to one whole extra impulse? No, it is not. That is actually not how crits work. I have a video on why crit is the best stat in the game, and part of the reason is because the crit stat both increases the damage and the chance of crits. But crits start at 40% more damage and typically peaks at 60%. And a little bit. Like around 60-62% or so. If you critical direct hit an Astral Impulse, then maybe. But having a crit-centric build doesn't mean that you can crit, it just means you can crit more. Anyway, my point isn't, like, I just want to be clear, Perrin, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying that we've had discussions where you said something was the case like that, and then we discovered that what you actually meant was you had seen something that suggested that X was true, and then, like, put 2 and 2 together, and there was something missing. So that's why I don't just take your word for it. I forgot to heal Lexi again. I thought I switched to Sage so that we could do this. We could probably have done it if you had come with me there. Didn't want to risk cleaving. I don't know. I don't know what we should do. I don't know what we should do. But we need to be... basically, I don't care what we do. What we need to do is actually agree on what we do. Which means when we wipe, and we will probably wipe, I will have us have a strategy meeting and figure out what we actually do whenever jails happen. Because we have to be consistent. We don't have the time. Like, we don't have the excess power to do anything other than know exactly what to do. Hey Shaq, hope you're doing well. Ah, the center is safe first. Oh man. I'm not the biggest fan of the fact that right as the jail occurs, he does a big heaping amount of damage. So there's not much I can do about it. I think we're getting Echo here. Yep. So what's the plan? I think something that might be a good idea, and it's very easy for me to say because I'll always be jailed for this, so there's like actually nothing I can do. But it might be beneficial to like save resources for bursting a jail. What would happen if the second jail were to jump off? I'm pretty sure that what happens is either that he'll just jail someone else in their stead, or the other person will just get jailed anyway. That's true. If the second person to get jailed just jumped off, it might be faster because you can just rest immediately after the jail. The question is whether the main tank gets jailed instead if the target is dead by the time the jail begins. But if we're not going to save the person in jail, then there's no point in like putting them in jail at all if it's free real estate. If we get them out without weakness would be best. It is, but it seems like it's too hard. Like I can almost deal with it, but I can't. Zepcast says, sorry for backseating here, but what about going back to healer in the back? That way you worry less about cleaves, because healer will be jailed and you'll have more DPS on healer jail. We're 3 players, Zepcast. The only person attacking the jail is the main tank, while I'm jailed. They're next to the jail if I'm under the boss. And I cannot get hit by the cleaves while I'm jailed. So I don't know what it would accomplish to put me far away again. And Conway says, can someone help me with this question? If I pre-order, do I get free playtime? I think you get like 1 month of playtime wait, no. Pre-ordering doesn't give you any playtime. Pre-ordering doesn't give you anything. Pre-ordering doesn't give you anything. in terms of game time. You'd have to buy game time separately. Let's see. It sounds like the strategy is free me, and then we try to save a second tank. In that case, I'll stockpile Flemmer specifically for that. Welcome back, Emir. Yeah, it sounds like that'll be the way we do it, either at... I just think it's more interesting if we, you know, actively learn something while we do it. Also because there's like so many mechanics to learn here. Thank you, Rust. And yeah, we are still on Titan. We'll see if it goes faster once we get to Garuda. But yeah, Zepcast, it's okay to come with suggestions. You don't have to, like, defend it with saying sorry for backseating. We're trying to figure it out alongside everyone else. But, I mean, as I said, like, I'm asking you, what would it do? Because, I can't get cleaved anyway while I'm in the jail. The best thing I can possibly do is be as close to whoever can save me as possible. That's why I'm under the boss. To try 2-manning it. Let's see if we can 3-man it first. I keep forgetting to actually put like a big heal on Lexi when this happens. You should probably tank switch. Oh, I see what you mean, Zepcast. I think the problem there is that the first tank is already pretty much dead by the time the first jail is dealt with. But that is a good point, actually. That could be relevant. That's okay, Cat. Sorry about that. And that was also the reason why I tried to keep it as small, like keep as little on the screen as possible about it, because I didn't want people to get spoiled if they didn't want to. Yeah, that was the reason why I tried to do that, Cat, was specifically because I did remember you were in the audience and you didn't want to hear it. But I also felt like if I just left it, then people would be asking and then there would be a chat filled with talking about it. It was better. It was the lesser evil to explain what it was. I have several questions. What I saw here, Lexi, is you used Inner Beast on the boss, not the jail, and then you got knocked off the arena through your arm's length. I mean, this strategy does seem to kind of work. And that's also a good counterpoint to that, Perrin, is that by making sure healer saved first, if we don't make it, it's not a wipe. But if healer saved second, then it's not going to, like, then we don't have a fail safe. Gimme says, I want you to know I had all spell effects turned on for all the attempts I was there for. Excellent! Remember when Paladin had non-combat raise? It's always funny because if you look back, Paladin had access to raise, but they did not have access to the trait that allows you to cast raise in combat. Pretty sure I have time. I can use one Flimmer here at the start. Could you imagine if Paladin did actually have raise, like combat raise? How insanely busted that would be. This costs damage, but it's worth it, I think. I think it makes it easier to just stockpile all the Flemmers. It's so insane how I feel like every time we do this, when we go down from 4 to 3 players, the strategy becomes completely insane. And it's like just on the cusp of being possible. Like just barely possible. If at all. Ow. Nope, that's not possible. It looked like you wasted an inner beast on the heart again. Well, last time you wasted it on Titan himself, but you know what I mean. Hey Joseph, hope you're doing well. Oh, didn't make the check. It seems like if a single G-City is not used on the jail, then it's like we won't make it. Yeah, like the moment that Titan starts doing the jail stuff, if it helps you, like, wait with the G-City so that your first G-City hits the jail. Like, it's worth it. No, that was not a body check, it was just a DPS check. We took way too long with the heart. Yeah, we basically have exactly the damage needed to, like, break everyone out of jail. So a single G-City wasted, and it's no longer possible. From what I can tell. Reverse benediction. Very nice. Ow. I feel like there's not a lot of, like, tank buster stacks. Usually that's up on 3 by now, isn't it? Is our Echo starting to win us time? I did not want to use evacuation doses on that. I actually wanted to use regular doses, but I got stopped trying to put a shield up for the tank. Right, cat, enjoy your food. Ow. Here come the DPS check. Oh, right. Used it on the wrong tank. Oh boy. Hey Philippe, hope you're doing well. What? Huh? That was weird. Ow! Well, I just have to landslide first, you see. Oh, I just remembered we'll also have an ad phase to deal with. Well, I think I'm actually going to die. I'm stuck in the goop. I'm stuck in the Dotton. What? Okay, I'll take it. We take those. We take those. Think we need a tank switch. We need a tank switch really, really fast before it is too late. It's really awkward, this. I had a feeling that wasn't going to work anyway. I had hope, and that hope was promptly crushed. I was really thinking, maybe we can do it. Maybe we can find a safe spot. We could not. Look, more ads. How about some more ads? Ow. I feel like one of those ads is in a bad spot. Just me? Is he not doing jails anymore? Sorry. I basically summoned it. I willed it into existence. You may want to tank switch. Yep, good. Nice. Very nice. Was that 15% echo? I think it was 15%. Yep, 15%. That's pretty good. Another mount, by the way. Very nice. I could imagine. I will say. Wait, Nightmare dropped. Oh, a different mount, right? We have only one extreme that cannot be done as... Well, we haven't done all of them yet. But yeah, so far we haven't managed to do his fluffiness with 3. I think I mentioned last time when we talked about it that it might be possible, but it's simply it relies on too much luck and there's too much perfection required that I wouldn't try that. I would not try it on stream. Like maybe one day try it like just for fun off stream, and then if we actually like if a group makes it work, you can like then you have the recording, right? 2 players, let's go. Yeah, unfortunately the jails makes that impossible. Right. So, that of course means that we beat Titan with 3. Which means that we, like, basically, if there is a chance, a reasonable chance to beat something with 1 less player, then I would of course try, but Titan has the jails mechanic, which means that there's no way to beat it with 2. No way. So there's no, like, it would just be stupid to try. Like, it would basically be wasting people's time, and I feel like that's not worth the comedic factor of going in and then dying. Which means we're going on to Garuda next. So for Garuda, we have 2 ads that need to be tanked. Also, I of course will be in the business to need 5 more players again. John says, do we know both will be jailed when there are only 2? I can assure you that a single person will get jailed if they're alone. I speak from experience. Like, if you go in there alone, and you somehow don't kill Titan in time, then he will jail you, sit there and wait the full timer out, and look at you, and if you're high enough level, you'll survive the explosion. It only does like 20,000 damage, I believe. But you'll get a massive damage down. Like, for some reason, it gives you a gigantic damage down. So you do garbage damage. I don't know why they added that, because you'll die. So we're not assuming anything, we know. Sure. We have one more spot if there's anyone in particular that wants to get in. Oh, Xander. Right. So for Garuda, the way that fight works is a little bit into the fight. Garuda will summon 2 ads, 2 ladies. If they're too close to each other, or rather, the closer they are to each other, the less damage they will take. And I believe they also do more damage or something like that. But basically, you want them to be... Like, one of them has to be a Narnia, and then the other one has to be... Well, I guess, like, over at specifically the White Witch's castle, right? One is in the like right at the closet, and the other one is all the way over at the castle. Yeah. And because you only have two, like normally you only have two tanks, it means one tank takes both Garuda and a lady, and the other tank takes the other lady. I don't remember if there is like any particular reason to choose, like to have one or the other. Let's see, Zav says, off-tank takes Shirada. Soprana and Garuda change place and aggro tables. Ah, okay, well then that explains that. So specifically, Soprana you want on Garuda, or with Garuda. Mishio, both of the ads buff each other, as far as I know. So whatever you do, you don't want Soprana and Shirada next to each other, but they're both ads. One of them is next to Garuda, one of them is not. Turns out that Soprana switches place with Garuda, so you want them to be next to each other, so that is trivialized. The other thing in this fight is that there is the spiny plume. I don't know if we're going to need it. If the answer is no, then we can just kill it. If the answer is yes, then it actually needs to be juggled. Because if, like, it applies a stacking debuff to whoever's tanking it, and when it reaches 3 stacks on whoever has it, as far as I understand, person explodes, instant party wipe. So, like, if we want that spiny plume, then we need, like, 2 tanks to juggle it. I think. But I don't think we need 2 healers, which is the reason why I'm the only healer again. And yes, that is correct. Titan will jail a single person on normal. On normal, Titan will jail a single person. That's the reason why Titan and like soloing, like playing through Final Fantasy XIV completely solo requires you to do it unsynced. It's because he, a regular job, can't beat him before they get jailed. I cannot do a ready check while someone is in combat. Iraret says, I'm pretty sure Shirada can be tanked by DPS. That is correct, Iraret, but you cannot do a tank switch with the spiny plume if you don't have 2 tanks. And we will not have, like, we will eventually just not have limit breaks to, like, tank albeit. We need, like, we have to assume that we're going to need 2 tanks. If we reach a point where we need more damage, and we clearly don't need 2 tanks, then we can take that when we get there, but I think we need 2 tanks. Aside from that, should we go in assuming that we don't? Like, should we go in assuming that we don't need the spiny plume? And see, the thing is, Michio, there will probably be a second spiny to deal with. Because we'll eventually not be 8. So in regards to the spiny plume, when Garuda summons in like a swarm of feathers, one of them will look different and will be called spiny plume. When you kill it, it'll do an AoE around it, and then make, like, a barrier. And that barrier protects you from the attack that Garuda will do. But there is a point that we might be able to survive this just with HP. What about Satin Plume? What does that one do? I can't remember. I think that's one where we just kill it. Shouldn't we have some markers for this? Does anyone want to present markers, or should I do something? Fisherman says, for Titan, if one person jumps before the jails and has a rest, could they break the jail after? Possibly. However, that kind of requires that you have the tank jump off the arena. Then while the healer's tanking Titan, and that's the big one, you you will have to tank Titan until you get jailed and the tank is back up. That could be a way to get around it, but I think you would simply be having how do you arrest them? You have tank jump off the arena. Tank's corpse comes back onto the arena because Unreal Titan changes. Then you rest the tank so that the tank has a rest ticking. Then Titan casts Jail. It marks the healer. Tank takes the rest, comes up, Jail resolves, tank kills the Jail. With weakness, which later becomes Brink of Death. I don't think they'll have the damage to do it. Like, the only reason we could do it here was because both tanks, like, stockpiled resources to go John Madden on it, and if you res a warrior like that, they probably won't have the resources to do it, and if you res a Dark Knight like that, then they don't have the MP to do it. And yes, we did beat Titan with 3 players. But it's a good idea, Fisherman. I just think Titan does too much damage on the healer to, like, facilitate this. And a single player dealing with Jail wouldn't be able to do it with the weakness debuff. Let's see, I'm just reading up the notes on these markers so they make sense. Tank Garuda on C at the start. Then when Sapana comes, go to A with Garuda and Sapana. Gerardo goes to B. And then there's all, let's see, party should stay on 4 when Garuda is on C. Yeah, exactly, Zepcast. You would need to do it perfectly to do it, and even then, the tank would get weaker and weaker, and you probably wouldn't meet the Hardened Rage. Yeah, exactly, Ham. How long would a healer need to solo the boss? Only for a tank with res percent HP to take over. Yeah, exactly. And Titan usually does a Mountain Buster just as the jail resolves, which means that the tank will get up, like, as the healer gets jailed, and then Titan just turns to the tank and goes, nope, and then you're dead. So I don't think it's possible. But it is a good idea, I just don't think it's possible. Let me know in the party chat when you have nothing more that you need to discuss. So I don't have to keep asking. Oh, we have a dancer again. Oh, right. Why did it do that much damage? I've been told that it doesn't matter whether you hide behind for that one. That's why I stayed in the center. I guess that one it does matter then. Ow. Can you... What's happening here? Hello? Ow. Crap. Hey, Traverse. Hope you're doing well. And this is a classic when bosses with a boss that is really technical, is that we get that we mess up right at the start. Don't worry about it. We try again. Yeah, remember to hide behind the rocks when she goes up. It seems like she really cared about that one. No, Michio. Off-tank wants to take Chirada. Don't mess us up with that nonsense. Don't like, if you're going to backseat, make sure to say it right. Don't mess with us on that one. It's absolutely wrong. Zapana is taken by main tank. Here they come. You're winning, FC's everyone dead. Yeah, I know, right? Don't know what I expected, casting gravity on that. Of course that wouldn't have worked. This one I've been told it doesn't actually matter. The damage of this one is dependent on how many rocks are still up. See, there's the spiny plume, as you can see. If we don't need it, the easiest way to know is to just waste it, so that we know we don't need it. And if we don't need it, then it means some changes for our strategy. Nice. Right, so just to reiterate, the reason why it is really, really important, oh look, Mount, that the correct ad goes with Garuda is because specifically Sapana switches place with Garuda. So if you pull Sapana to Narnia, then eventually she'll just swap place with Garuda, and then you have Shirada and Sapana next to each other because they swap places. We don't want that. That's okay, Emir. We did it. Right then, do we have a volunteer to step out for 7 players? Also, well done, everyone. And we spent like 5 minutes discussing what to do, and then we spent 5 minutes killing the boss. I feel like that's pretty much a success. Shaq hops out. Thank you very much for your participation. Lexi says, Spiny Plume we can't ignore once we drop 1 or 2 players, I think. I suppose not. I think we'll have to see. I think someone said that it might be possible to survive it with HP bar alone. The only way for us to know for sure is if we do it with HP bar alone. How does Spiny Plume work? It will put a stacking debuff on whoever's tanking it. When that hits 3 stacks, you wipe. So you need to tank swap it. If you keep it alive, then when Garuda leaves to do the big, aerial blast or whatever she calls it, again, when there's no rocks, then it'll hurt like crazy. But if you have the Spiny Plume popped, it will pop out like a barrier that protects you. So that's what you're supposed to do with it. Lexi says that off-tank should be taking the Spiny. Well, we'll see. So far, we hardly needed the first Plume. The big problem here is that we don't know if we need it until we actually need it. Oh look, this the satin plume. And here come the ads. They're just Shirado really wants him here. Just rushes for him. That felt faster. But they didn't even get to swap this time. I also feel like we are at a point where there's not that much, like, sustained damage going out. So it might actually be better with Scholar. Come to think of it. Look, there's the second spiny plume. Do we do anything with that one? Wait a minute. I'm messing myself up. There's no second... there hasn't been a second spiny plume yet. That was the first one. I feel like she has a lot more HP this time around. Weird. I should have put that on Zarth. Nope, no use crying over spilled cards. Nice. But I think we can already see what mechanic will be the problem. Like, I can already see it coming from a mile away. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm reasonably confident that that spiny plume will be a nightmare when we finally need it. Do we have a volunteer to hop out? Problem is, if you do too much damage, the plumes and Giralda Soprano spawn at the same time. Interesting. Thank you for joining up, Girahim. Seems like she's having so much more HP now. After you left. Well, I mean... yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, she has so much more HP. We're missing 1 DPS. Ain't that weird? And what DPS was that? Oh, right. We don't have a dancer this time. I'll keep that in mind. Servers is waiting for the extreme where we can't even beat it at 8. Oh. Well, see, that's also the thing, is that I wouldn't plan an extreme countdown if I wasn't confident we could beat it. With the default, like with 8 players. Like, here's the thing. Some of you might not remember this or have noticed this, but the first time the first 2 times that I arranged Extreme Countdown, I brought one of the tanks myself, and at least one of the DPS myself. So that I knew... well, I can beat it with these 2 players. If everything else fails, then I know that I can beat it with this. So I had stacked the deck before we even started. And I also specifically started with one that I was confident we could beat. That's a lot of damage. Blap. 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 Very complicated rotation, everyone. Do you see it? Blip. She used friction on me. I know, right, Subcast? Like, one of the things that I think is really fascinating doing this on stream like this is when I'm doing these trials where I have done them in mental roulette, I'm often like mentally comparing the run with the run I had in mental roulette. And when I beat Garuda in mental roulette in a stream, not a stream, a video quite a while ago at this point, we still haven't reached the point in the fight that we beat the boss on, I'm pretty sure. Exactly, the Go 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 Tank episode, exactly. Tristan says, you almost think that a community from someone that teaches about this game knows how to play the game somewhat decently. Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's important. Zarb says, after Zapana's or Chirada's friction cast, Garuda does untelegraphed Wicked Wheel 360-degree tank buster. Okay, so we should try to not be in range when that happens. We taught them wrong as a joke. Wow. I wouldn't do that. If I teach something wrong, I usually present it as a joke. Or when someone asks because they're confused, I almost always comment and explain that it's a joke. I still respond to my my Dragon Cake short when someone goes and legitimately asks, wait, is this real? And I go, not exactly. Not completely. I taught them wrong with a joke. Even better. How the tornadoes go with players with situational awareness? Well, we have to see the tornadoes actually spawn first. Like, that's the insane thing, and that's also, I think, why these runs, a lot of the time, it really, like, escalates, like, ridiculously so, once we reach the point where... where we have too few players to do enough damage to skip all the hard parts. Like, the instant we reach that point, the fights suddenly get way harder. And we will probably reach a point where we will have to use the plume correctly. We don't even know, like, we haven't even needed to deal with that yet. So let's see. Bonk. I wish she had like an invuln buff when she was actually invuln instead of it just going, no, just a 0 damage. It's really, like, that's something that I find really annoying about this boss in particular, is that she just doesn't take damage. There isn't like a buff or anything that says why, she just doesn't. So you just have to guess when your dot will actually land. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. I'm more like a lizard about it, you see. Not a fan. Welcome back, cat. Yeah, we're sprinting through this. Thank you so much, Toby. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy. Well, that was a big oof, but we totally took it. No problem. We could take that again, by the way. Like, unless the next one hurts more, we could totally do that again. Easily. Should we keep the Spiny alive? I'm pretty sure there's no need. Like, Garuda's nearly dead. Yeah, thank you, Toby. I certainly healed in the wrong order there. Yes, heal the main tank last. That's smart. Use Lustrate on everyone else. Oh, right, I needed one for the tank as well. And then I just see Garuda, like, wind up to just wallop Ymir. And that's when I go, right, the tank. Right then. Thank you for joining, Ham. I have a feeling that, like, I'm not 100% certain on it, but I have a feeling there's a possibility this is going to be extremely hard with 3, if we can even get down to 3. Exactly, Girian. I feel like there's something that I forgot. If you forgot about it, it's probably not important. Cut to Ymir. A physic, perhaps. Yeah, indeed, Sepcast. Like, if we fall behind, it can be a huge problem. It did little enough damage that we might be able to take it, but yeah, the question is how much damage the second one does. And the second one we'll probably need the Spiny for, but let's see if we can actually reach that part before we worry about that. I'll say, Caetsu. Hope you're doing well. Oh, right, the cleave. I'm over here like, I need to cleave the boss and this razor plume. Oh, right, the Saturn plume. I'll help. I can help with that. I can slap the ground, you see? I slap the ground real good. I find it so funny how Garuda just goes zoom for the main tank before you even have a chance to pick it up. Oh, that's really funny. Did you see that? Did y'all see that? My Kabi running around the rock so that it can heal Ymir. It's really cute. By the way, it felt like it was time for that. The good old Mega AoE, when the boss has an AoE tank buster. What does the Saturn plume actually do? I believe it explodes. For more than the regular plumes. Or something like that. Can I be the ground? It's spreading. Let's see. Zaf and Lexi both say that the Saturn puts people to sleep. So, like, I mean, that's equally disastrous if you just get sleeped and then you die. Like, you know, same, but different. It sleeps everyone when it explodes. Perfect. So I wasn't incorrect. It explodes in a puff of sleep powder. It's big brain time. Slap. Slap. How about some more ads? What do we do with the spiny plume? What do we do with the spiny plume? What do we do with the spiny plume early in the morning? It's actually kind of late. Do we still kill it? I guess yes. We'll have to see what we do if we don't make it. Early in the morning. Close enough. 7:30 in the evening. Ow. Oh, 15,000 damage, you say? I think we need the Spiny Plume. I mean, the thing is, with 5% echo, we can probably make it. So do we do that? Do the tanks need a moment to figure that out? I guess so. Just mit. Just use, like, actually, if we had enough mitigation, we might have made it. Did we not have a limit break? Yeah, limit break was not used. I was more saying, did we not have one? I don't know if we... I don't even know if we had one. We had LB1 available. I think that's like 25%. And yeah, it probably hits through invuln, but it would have been funny. I mean, if you can't see Lexi's debuffs, then there might be something you'd need to do in your settings. Because you should be able to see them. It should prioritize important buffs and debuffs by default. Which means that if you just have enough buffs showing, it should show the debuff on Lexi. If you're saying, I haven't seen any debuffs on Lexi, so I don't think I can see it, then it's because we've killed the Spiny Plume so far, so fast, that it hasn't had a chance. Like, it doesn't have a chance to show up. But it might help to, like, if you're not certain, it might help to, like, focus target Lexi if you want to be sure. But then again, you might also want to focus target the Spiny Plume itself, so it's easier to target it. Yeah, the first Spiny Plume, we just killed that one. The second Spiny Plume, which is the one that comes alongside Tirada and Sapana, that one has to live and has to be juggled, so that's going to be interesting. Red is defamation, red, wait, wrong fight. Dun 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 dun. Imagine having deployment tactics, am I right, fellas? Don't you worry, once I see the second Spiny Plume, I'll stop slapping the floor. At least once as long as I'm near the plume. Blip. Slap. Slap. For the world of man to slap. Spiny Plume 2. Now, extra spiny. No, you can stay over there, Kabi. Just heal him here. She needs it. What happened there? Like, she needs it, and then just blab, 3 dots. Throw more dots. More dots. Come on, more dots. Slap. Slap. Come on and slap. Oh wait, this is the first one, yeah? Oops. And that's the first spiny. Spiny plume, spiny plume, spiny plume. Yeah. Dodge! Easy. What? Oh, this mechanic hits really hard. What do I do about it? Just don't get hit, Lamau. Just dodge. But if you dodge friction, how will you awaken her? There's the spiny plume that we might actually need. So be careful. Ow. Do you see the debuff now, Yumi? It's the tornado debuff. You have to taunt now. I think. Be careful with the damage. It's a very, 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 very fragile little plume. We're gonna need it in a bit. I'll just be over here. Don't worry about it, everyone. Don't worry about Kabi. It's having a whale of a time. It loves it in its fur with all the wind. Tank switch, I think? On the plume? Now kill? Nice. Kill her! Quickly now! Destroy! Nice! Very nice. Oh, another mount! Another one. What's up, Ymir? Well, thank you, Zaf. I guess we're down to the final round. Final round. Now the question is whether I should go Scholar or Sage. Oh, the mount. More mounts. Throw more mount. Come on. More mount. More mount. I think I'll go Sage. I feel like that has worked well. For the final round previously. I should be able to heal across the entire arena with that. But Sage also has more control since they can single target better. And then there's also Flemmer. Time to farm the Echo. Well, we'll be practicing while doing so. That's an interesting way to put it, Zepcast. Getting real Tony Stark built this in a cave with a pile of scraps vibes. Watching y'all clear this with 4 people. Yeah. Yeah. Remember that I also had trouble doing this with 8. Now we're all over here doing it with 3. Or trying at least. Don't need the other healer. Don't need the DPS. We just don't need it. We just fight the boss. It's easy. I don't know how long there was to the Harden Rage. Ow. Where is it? There. There. The big one that usually fails in Relate is the fact that they let the pillars get destroyed. From what I've had to deal with, but I suppose like my problem was a faulty tank. But like usually it has been something with Chirada and Supana. Defenders is wise 3 the hard limit? No particular reason. The problem is that I don't like maybe we can do it with 2, I think, and usually what happens is we've never been able to meet the Harden Rage with 2. Like either the Harden Rage causes trouble or there's some mechanic that is not possible with 2 players. Like that's usually how it goes. In this case, like perhaps it might be possible that like I could tank Shirada. I realize that we've lost a lot of rocks here, but it might be okay. I'll have to be more careful next time. But yeah, usually that's the problem, Defender. It's not that I'm like, oh, I don't want to go below. It's usually that like either we don't have enough damage as 2 players, or there's some mechanic that requires more than 2 players. Right. Only 10k, yeah. And there's also the part that often by the time we're 3, we're already like at the breaking point where we kinda might actually need the echo to just get it done. So going down to 2 players, you lose over, like, usually you lose over a third of the damage because the healer's going to need to heal more. And, well, that tank or whatever that was attacking usually did more damage than a healer. So you lose over a third of your damage output. Like having an off tank or something? I'm not very smart at this. I should be standing at 4, right? That one's on me. I should be better about that. I'll stand right here. Falls for feathers, feather bait? I don't know. I don't know. But I'll be further away from the rocks if I'm there. Maybe I'll shoot that one. And I'll try to hang out in this very open field. What even is Garuda's enrage timer? I guess it's like, I would guess it's like 10 or 11 minutes. That seems to be like somewhat consistent with the Realm Reborn bosses like this. I'll take like a really, really long path around like this. Do that. Oh boy. It's always fun when someone suddenly takes a lot of damage. And I'm in Narnia. I just want to use Flammer without dying. If we can just get past the part where we need the rocks, it'll get so much easier. What's my ping? It's like 20. Because sometimes I can slide cast on slightly over 0.5, but I don't usually try. Simply because it's consistent. No, same, Deshi, but the thing is, I slidecast just below 0.5, which means I'm technically slidecasting at the moment. You would probably qualify as around 0.5. I'm just a little extra specific. On one stack? Okay. Uh-oh. What killed it? What happened? What killed it? No, Deathschi, the slide casting window is 0.5 exactly. Like, it starts precisely at 0.5, the exact frame. It's just that if you have high latency, it can become bigger than that. So if you've seen me my slide cast fail at 0.4, then it wasn't 0.4. It was 0.55, but you didn't actually see the time before it had already said 0.4. An auto attack, right. Well, we keep trying. Also that, Zav, Sapana didn't die fast enough. But yeah, the slide casting window starts exactly at the final half second of a cast. If you have a lot of latency, it can sometimes be a little bit bigger. But if you have a lot of latency, it's also pretty common that your latency isn't perfectly stable, which means that it can be less reliable. No, Deathschi, it's that the server has the server basically accepts that your cast has finished. When there's like half a second left, it's probably there as some sort of like latency countermeasure, so that you can move in time if you're lagging a lot. But the thing is, the half second is not related to ping. Any more than that can be related to ping, but slide casting is a mechanic. As in, we talked about auto attacks earlier. Casting a spell with a 1.5 second cast time delays your auto attack by 1 second, not 1.5, because the slide cast is an actual game mechanic that is recognized by the game. Ow. I also have a short on the slide casting window. Defender says, doesn't slide casting get easier the lower your latency is? I don't know, honestly. The problem is, if you have a higher latency, then you can sometimes get away with slide casting sooner. But because your latency is probably less consistent when it is higher, you can't be sure, like, what your slide casting window is. So usually you can't rely on it being bigger because of your latency. So basically it doesn't make it any easier when it really comes to it as a result. I hope we have enough rocks. Oh, 0 damage. Excellent. Yeah, I have a short about the slide casting window where I explain it in pretty strong, like pretty good detail, I would say. But if you already know that it is half a second now, then like that's really it. There is some level of like impact that latency has to the slide casting window. It's just that I don't think it's that much, and even if it was, if you're not sure, the reason is that the increased time for slide casting when you have latency is related to like when you send your messages to the server and when you receive them, and like higher ping doesn't necessarily mean that you send the information at exactly the same time every time, as far as I know, which is why it can be unreliable or inconsistent. So like even if it gave you more time, you don't know how much until it happens. And if you misread it, then you don't like that. Then the spell fails just the same, and it's just not worth it. I have an idea. I think this might just work. This way I can be in the be close enough to the middle that I can help on both sides without being actually in the middle. Kill the Serpana. Kill the Wabbit. Nice. Oh, whoops. I will not do that again. For a second, I forgot. I hope that wasn't too soon. Too soon! You have popped the spine plume too soon, Executus! Do we need that plume as well? Given it's being kept alive, I'm guessing the answer is yes. Well, I don't think I can use Flemma at all here. Tank switch? Okay, good. Ooh, you really don't want to do any auto attacks on the plume now. I think it might actually die if you do. Unless we need it now? Do we need it now? Yes, maybe? Or not? She just did the Mistral Streak, so we didn't really need it. We'll need it now. For the next set. And there's the plume. Careful with where you are, the tornadoes are going to appear again, remember? They're too close. Ymir, you need to go to A. You need to go to A. Like that's too close. Has to be A. I know it's a little too late for that. By the way, there's a tank switch necessary. Yeah, it has to be A every time. It has to be A every time. That's actually the reason why I put markers down, even though we're like 3 players, is because it's that important. But it seems like when all the plumes appear, we don't need the spiny plume. When only one appears, then we need it. Because she only does the aerial blast after Shirada and Serpana. But we'll get this. We just have to not fail. Just don't die, Lemao. That's how it works, you know. Oh boy. 3 casts to kill a plume. Just barely 3. That always sucks. Thank you, Aerodale. We're just losing rocks real fast suddenly due to sniping. Don't think we'll need a Kera on this one. This is the weak one. Pink. And this is where we won't need the spiny. I just have to spend the Flemers while there isn't a spiny I have to watch out for. And while I can pump that damage specifically into Garuda, not something else. That's actually... We actually got a lot of time to just donk on her right there. Oh boy. Not a huge fan of her dots. It feels like you don't like sometimes she'll just snipe you. It doesn't feel like there's like a trick to dodging them. Or like, is it just me? Tank switch time? Kill it! Kill it! Hello? we're not adopting it. We're abusing it. We don't need that one. Spiny plume pet when? Yeah, sounds about right. The unfortunate situation with this subcast is that there is like at least like 2 seconds of delay, even if I am calling out things. But it's better than nothing, of course. Same as before. Tank switch time? Tank switch time, tank switch time, tank switch time, tank switch time, or we die. And now Garuda. Now the plume. Oh boy. There is a possibility that we could just have ignored those plumes and just gone full face. But, imagine if we had wiped because we greeted in that moment. But we did it! 3 players. Given how tight the DPS check to kill both Serpana and Shirada in time, like that's the reason why we don't go down to 2. Ymir says you weren't sync and targeting. On the Razor Plume, like, so Ymir, whenever there's the Razor Plume spawned, you can AoE, like, we might have had to AoE the Razor Plumes. There at the end, I chose to cleave. The thing is, for me, it would cost me 3 Disgracias to kill, like, any plume that was nearby. It didn't cost me that much damage to AoE them, but I realized it was a DPS loss on Garuda. That's why I pointed it out. Yeah, 3 players for Garuda, 3 players for Titan. When it really came to it, I actually feel Titan was harder. Like, I feel like Titan was harder because Titan had, like, it felt like a tighter check. Like, each time jail happened, we had exactly the amount of GCDs needed. Whereas with Garuda, like, we had GCDs to spare. Rock is harder than wind? Yeah. Exactly. Thank you, everyone. And yet, from what I can tell, Subcast, it's just that the tether for the ads on Garuda is just that you need to be exceptionally far away. Like, basically, from what I can tell, it's the further you are away, the more you are rewarded. And they've made that tether so long that even if you place them on opposite ends, there's still more to be had, because they still had like 1 defense down stack. Or I suppose defense up stack? Damage down stack? There's also the part that it felt like Titan looped once for us, whereas Garuda looped like 2 times. Although it also feels like Titan started using jail less often when we got to the later part of the fight. Like, long enough for me to go, does he not use jail anymore at this point? Only for Titan to go, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Thank you. Yeah. We did it with 3. And in both cases, with Titan, the jail mechanic like, hitting 2 players means that the best we would be able to do to overcome that is, as someone suggested, have the tank jump off the arena so they die a little bit before the jail mechanic, then have the healer rest the tank while tanking Titan, and then when Titan uses jail, so like the healer's targeted, the tank can stand back up and kill the jail, but the tank would get back up with like 20% HP one Mountain Buster away, and Titan will open with Mountain Buster right after the jail, so probably wouldn't work. For Garuda, the problem is, like, so with Titan, it's a mechanical barrier, I think, that is unbeatable. For Garuda, I think a healer could absolutely just, you know, tank Chirata over in Narnia. Like, that's no problem. But you can't tank switch. Like, you can't move the Spiny Plume in any way, practically speaking. So I don't think, like, so there, like, if we ignore the part with the Spiny Plume, then you would still not be able to kill both Serpana and Chirata in time. Now Stone says, in Unsynced, is it possible to solo these extreme trials? Yes. Very easily. As in, how easy you might think? It would be really funny if I could one-shot it, but I'm pretty sure I can't. Yeah, Blue Mage can one-shot it. Can on Summoner? Yeah, sometimes I've managed to do it on Summoner. It's like just making sure Death Flare and Enkindle happens at the same time. And yet it's that easy. So like the reason this is interesting is because you can sometimes land, like for example, you could, like, both because we want to know how easy are these fights actually, but you can land in these extremes in the roulette called Mentor Roulette, when, for example, Sprouts legitimately queue for them. And it might be interesting information whether you can summarize Ogina Mikiri can do it. Whether you can, like, how many players you actually need that knows what they're doing to beat it. Did I auto-attack her and that stopped me? No, it just straight up didn't kill her. You needed to actually direct hit for that to be possible, it looks like. We need Nidhogg countdown. Well, we'll get to that eventually, but probably not before. Like, that'll be something we'll get to eventually in Dawn Trail. Zepcast says she probably Chirata. Also aggro's main tank immediately, right? So main tank will have to take a bit of damage while you're trying to damage or take aggro. Probably, but I think you'll get it with just like a Ruin 2. Like, that shouldn't be a problem. It's just that you, like, the thing is, there's too much, like, there's too much damage that needs to be done. Emir says, why is Mountain Buster cone on Titan but a circle on Summoner? Good question. I guess you need the Blue Mage version. I think the real answer is because it being a cone sucks. Well, to be clear, actually, I forgot that this is Mountain Buster. For some reason, I thought, well, the attack that the Summon Titan does. But Mountain, like, it being a cone would probably suck as summoner. As the summoner. The reason why I thought about it as a cone is because Ifrit's attack when you're lower level is a cone. And you know why that's really awkward? That's because if you... Like, I can't do it here because I'm level 90. But if you cast Summon Ifrit from here, then Ifrit will run to, like, here. And then cast the attack. And only hit this one. Because it's 5 yalms away from this guy, but it's, like, 6 yalms away from these guys. So you'd actually have to, like, summon Ifrit on that one. So that it can hit those. And you'd have to stand, like, here to make sure that Ifrit runs up to here and then breathes. So, like, yeah, cones on the pets kind of suck. Titan does the same, even though it's, like, a circle AoE centered on Titan. He will, like, if you target this one, he'll run up to here and then circle AoE and only hit that one. Because it just gets close enough that it can hit the first dummy. So even though Titan has a full circle AoE, he'll still miss. Which ironically makes Garuda the most consistent one on AoE until you get, you know, the level 2s. Because those ones just do a circle AoE every time. That's okay, Emir. Yeah, I don't know why they make every cone into a circle AoE these days. There's still some remaining. And let's see, what cone AoEs do we have left? We have Fuga, we have Machinists, and we have Bards. Is that it? We have Reaper. Guillotine, specifically. It's not really it's more like a line AoE, I'm pretty sure, not a cone. Dancer has some lines, and I believe Fan Dance is a cone, yeah. We had issues in Uwu because Samurai's AoE not hitting everything. The Reaper AoE is more like a half circle. Yeah, I don't know. Because it says both range 8 and radius 8, and it looks the way it looks, I'm willing to believe that it's like an 8 yalm wide line AoE, 8 yalms forward, which would mean, if true, that Reaper's Guillotine is more like a square in front of it. Even, like, yeah, it's a line, exactly, it looks like a line AoE. Grimswathe is Grimswathe look like this, which is a circle. Guillotine look like this. Oh yeah, it actually does look like a half circle. You're right. I've never actually looked this close on it. In my defense, there's something even weirder about that, which is this. Have you guys seen this? Am I the only one who's noticed this, or is it my PC who's bugging out? Cone AoEs. Some of them seem to turn. Like, the attack is going this way, right? But as you circle it, it'll turn. I'm almost 100% certain it didn't used to do that. I'm almost 100% certain it didn't used to do that. Like, there's a patch that has messed it up. Ham says, as a machinist, I can say that's normal. I remember there was also something with Machinist for a while where Scattergun had a wacky animation where it shot upwards or something like that. But that got fixed. And see, the thing is, like, this one, this looks normal. Like, if I shoot it here and then I move over there, that's wrong, right? Because the attack, like, I press it here, it snapshots here, it's a cone here. the animation should happen from here to here. And shouldn't follow me. And absolutely shouldn't turn. But I'm pretty sure that's something that has happened at some point. Like, that it's something that, like, came with a patch. I'm not sure if it's intentional or if it was a bug that it didn't do that, but it looks a little weird to me, and I'm pretty sure it didn't used to look like that. It would look whack if the bullets came out of thin air. No, it would be weird if, like, you swing your blade and then, like, a tornado happens where you were. Wouldn't that be strange? Wouldn't that be weird? I couldn't possibly imagine they'd make such an animation. They wouldn't never do that, would they? That's how it's supposed to look. But for some reason, all cone AoEs do that now. And I'm almost confident it didn't used to. But circle AoEs are consistent. Mostly. Mostly. It's consistent when it's not consistent. Like, this one is consistent. This one isn't. Yeah, I agree, Lexi. It would have been a shame if we couldn't do it. But that's the thing, usually we manage to do it if it's clear that it can be done. I would feel a lot less confident with like more recent extremes. Does Chainsaw come out from the origin? Yes. It actually shoots chainsaws out of thin air. See, I don't know what it is, but it seems like something's changed. And I started noticing it like a few months ago. And it's so weird to me. And I'm pretty sure the only reason it can be so weird to me is because it wasn't like this. Like, I'm pretty sure something glitched out. And it's not a big deal, it's just confusing. Because sometimes, like, you reposition in the middle of the attack and then the AoE just looks wrong. Giriheen says, I'm kind of curious about Thursday's countdown, if only because I have very little idea what Ultimate Weapon Extreme is even like. Well, one thing that I know, and here's the thing, I think I've done Ultimate Weapon Extreme successfully once. And like, I think that was in a mental roulette. I think it was. Like, before I started recording them. But the first time I tried Ultimate Weapon Extreme was when I had a little sprout icon and I was like, well, I have a quest. I could queue for this, and just went for it. And that's when I discovered that this is going to be really hard. And then, like, we discovered that there's a tank switch mechanic. But before we respected the tank switch mechanic, I went, let's see if I can use Hallowed Ground for it first. The answer's no. But I did that back in Stormblood. And after a few tries, we abandoned, and I was like, alright. Probably should not queue for extremes then. I don't know how long I sat in queue. I guess I didn't sit in it for too long, given that I got in. But yeah, we tried a few attempts, and then we'd go in, nah, this is too hard. But I have a feeling that Ultimate Weapon is going to be really easy. But it's the last one that we have on this list. Which is why we're doing it on Thursday. And then we'll see what we'll do if we finish really, really quickly. Traverse, are you certain you didn't do it for Garuda Extreme? The reason why I say that is because I'm pretty sure that Garuda, Titan, and Ifrit Extreme are presented in reverse order, so you have to do Garuda first. Not that it really changes the story. It's just if it was Titan, then you probably either queued for Garuda or somehow beat it, and then, you know, tried Titan and then gave up. But something that I think is interesting is that just like as we've been going down through the list, it feels like, and it's not entirely true, but it kind of feels like as we've gone backwards, the fights have been almost more mechanically intense. But then, of course, because of item level, they're, like, practically easier. But mechanically more intense. Which is strange. Which is strange, is it not? Right then. But, yeah, that was what I aimed to do here. So, if you enjoyed the wonderful company of me or the chat, remember that there's a Discord community server that you can join where you'll find me. And I think most of the chat. You'll also find the weekly schedule where you can see what else is coming up, such as Thursday's second part of Extreme Countdown this week. And we also have tomorrow, where you might have seen recently that I've been putting out polls going, what's the hardest X role in Endwalker? Where we're putting that up in a video to talk about what the hardest tank is. And part of it is like what I already know, part of it is what I know from the comments, and part of it is what I've learned. But it is partly based on the poll itself, but everything is being covered. So there should be something interesting to talk about. There's also the announcement room you can see on the Discord server where you'll find links to videos or streams whenever they come out. They always show up there first. And you can also find the weekly. You can also go to the role assignments room and grab the reminder role if you would like to get a notification whenever I do put out a video or stream. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships, Shaq. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So generous. What was I saying? Right, if you grab the reminder role, you will also get a notification around 15 minutes before stream starts, so you don't miss a second. It caught half of the that's a lot of regulars, yeah. Rontom says, if I don't hear my name in the video, I'm unsubscribed. Why would your name appear? Why would your name appear specifically? Like, in voiceover? I'm a little confused. It's just a joke. Okay. No, I was legitimately curious if there was something in like that about it. Yeah, thank you so much, Shaq. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this particular stream a lot, it helps me a lot if you leave a like on it in the YouTube system. That tells YouTube that this was a very enjoyable stream and you'd like other people to enjoy it as well. So thank you so much in advance. And if you would like to support the channel even more directly, you can become a member. You can also gift memberships like Shaq did here. You can also use the super chat system. And if you don't like using this YouTube stuff, there's also a Ko-Fi link in the description. All of it helps me directly and allows me to, you know, focus on making lots of good, interesting, helpful videos and making interesting streams for all of you. So thank you all so much for the support. be wrong about Ramu that gave me a shout out. Well, I mean, you were mostly right, and then we discovered there was more to it. With that said, I think that's everything we got. Everything I wanted to say. So, thank you all so much for watching, and good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye!